Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on the Boss Rush Network. I am your new old host, Corey Derrick, and alongside me this week is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit, but I we wanted to kind of refigure things out, and I'll be honest, you've been listening for the last couple of weeks. I just the hosting stuff just was not coming natural to me, so yeah. I was like, you know what, I like, Corey's been doing it for a while, and Stoy said like he wouldn't mind doing it, like he's been doing it for a while already. So like both of you are really good at what you do, and like honestly I just wanted the show to be better, and like if there's one thing I try to be self-aware. And so I'm like, yeah, like I've even joked about it, I think, on the show a couple of times. I'm like, I know I suck. Like just like it is what it is right now, but yeah, so.
And I've been wanting to come back to this show for a while. It's just like, I mean, you're a parent, and like, a couple weeks ago we dealt with a flood, and then, work has been crazy because like I'm gonna have to work Saturdays now, and like I don't know, I've been trying to, like, because I've been doing a lot, especially behind the scenes and stuff, and moving some stuff around, and I'm finally to a point where like I can be on this show. I'm taking a hiatus from POW Block, probably semi-permanently unless they really need someone, because you and I talked about it, and like Xbox has the biggest potential for Boss Rush right now, right? Xbox is pretty much doing almost everything right. I mean, we can talk about the Halo stuff later, but for the most part, they're doing everything right, especially with that whole Sony Horizon fiasco this week, just as a newer example of, the way that smart delivery just works, and Sony's kind of bungled that a couple times, and they're doing what they think is best for them, and Xbox is doing what they're thinking is best for them. I'm not trying to like throw Sony's under the bus or anything, but like right now Xbox is on a high, and I think, and we talked about it, and we think that Arsenal X has the biggest potential to grow as a brand here. I mean, it used to be like a really prominent part, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's gone downhill because that's not right, but it's kind of like faded into what Boss Rush's brand has been. We talked about how POW Block has kind of really taken over everything to where Boss Rush is basically a Nintendo site now with aspects of PlayStation and Xbox, and we want to provide an Xbox show that's on par with Nintendo POW Block in terms of quality and branding and segments and community interaction and appearance on the website and YouTube channel and podcast numbers and stuff. So Jesse and I and Stoy, who is not here, he's working or something, he's out of town, but he'll be back next week. We want to build an Xbox podcast that we all are not only proud of, but also we can take it to the next level. We can do interesting things with Xbox, and I miss this show. I do. I've been trying to limit myself to 2 shows a week, and for a while it's been POW Block, but just Ed taking over hosting and Jacob doing a great job with the live shows, and we're going to bring this back as a live show starting next week. It was going to be this week, but my OBS stuff is just like, it's freaking out on me. Like if I try to stream and record at the same time, it just like, it'll chug, it'll drop frames on the stream, and then it'll just crash my system, and I don't know what happened. So I'm going to kind of reestablish everything. But yeah, next week we're going to start live shows on Sunday nights, and Jesse's not going anywhere, guys. He's just
no.
he just, we're just going to make it work. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do the things that we normally do, we used to do, and what we're going to do moving forward. Do we kind of want to talk about the format of the show? It's not really changing all that much, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know, like, we had kind of talked, and I was trying to do it. I just, again, like, like, being in the host position, I just not used to it enough to really be able to plan things and do it properly. But, like, I was trying to get it to a point of where we could have it where, like, some segments, like, I could say, hey, like, this is this and this topic or whatever, and then, go over it. So it's like, yeah, Corey or Stoy or whoever is starting off the show, but we still all can, like, bring, like, our interests to the show, or, like, if there's something that I'm really, really passionate about, or there's something that you, Corey, are super passionate about that's in the news, or Stoy is, like, Stoy is passionate about, and we do want to, like, he does want to try to continue his Game Pass stuff on here, where he, will be the basically the audio version of what he does a lot of time in his writing stuff for our Xbox writing section, where he puts a list of Game Pass games that are coming or have come to Game Pass. So we, like, and I was like, again, I wanted to go that way, but I wasn't really quite doing it correctly. But I wanted it to feel more like a joint effort, and not like, just because someone is starting off the show, like, they're not completely in charge of having to do everything, right? Like,
yeah,
we all,
I mean,
we all have jobs. We all can't be watching every little thing that's happening in the news.
Yeah. So for a little behind the scenes of what we've been doing with Nintendo Power Block, we have a chat where we just kind of, like, talk about things and how we want to approach things for the episode. And then Nintendo Power Block has a separate group chat. It's mostly Ed's fault, let's be honest. Where everything, all the news stories that happen in a week, we post it in this separate group chat. We're not allowed to comment on it. We're not allowed to, kind of whatever. It's literally just a chat for Nintendo Power Block news, right? And so, Ed hosts the show. We usually have somebody else do a Game Fact Advance is what we call it, where, they talk about whatever, some fact about Nintendo that week. David is in charge of distributing the news and kind of carrying the conversation with the news that week. And then Docked Mode is obviously the big topic for the show. That's kind of how behind the scenes of that. We're going to try to mimic that a little bit, where, I mean, we're not going to have a separate group chat for just news stories, because I don't think we need that, right? But
no.
If there's a news story that we think is important, we're going to drop it in our chat, and then we'll add it to the doc and whatever. But we like, I've always told Jesse that Arsenal X has the coolest music, has the coolest intro. I think it has the coolest design aesthetic of any of the Boss Rush shows. I just think it's like the show is what we need to, like, we need to bring it up to the level of, like, the music for the show. We
need to find its identity, and and it's difficult when it's constantly, like, for the past year or two, it's been kind of changing, like, hosts.
The only thing consistent about the show is that it changes all the time, and we need to stop that. I mean, like, I used to host the show, like, for a while it was you, me, and Ed, and then it was you and me, and we had some guests, and then it was you, me, Josh, and Joe, and then it was you and Ed, and then it was me and you, and then it was you and Stoy, and me when I could make it, and then Ed when he could make it. And now we just have to stop that.
Yeah.
And I hope that this kind of consistency, it's almost like a Arsenal X reboot, but it's not, you know what I mean? We're just kind of we've been talking for a couple weeks in our group chat of like, okay, finding the identity of the show, building the show, moving the show at a consistent pace. These are the things we need to do to make Arsenal X a great Xbox podcast. And I think we can do that. I mean, we did it before. I think we can do it again, so yeah, that's,
and I mean, I'm sure, at times, like, it is kind of fun having different people, but when you get used to, like when you get used to something, or you want to get used to knowing the people on it, like, and then things change, not everyone's going to really, enjoy it at first. And so, yeah, like, I mean, just listening to Giant Bomb and things like that have dramatically changed. It's just not the same anymore. And so like, we get it. Like, we want to try to keep like a consistent group, and and still have people come on, and and occasionally if someone wants to be a fourth or fifth seat or whatever, like down the line, but have that core consistency of a hosts and co-hosts and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's not like we're saying if one of us can't make it one week, the other two can't do the show, but like, we want to nail down the consistency. We want to nail down the, consistency breeds success, right? You look at Pow Block, you look at Crossroads, you look at Tower Casuals, you look at Celeste interviews. I mean, there's very little change to those shows, right? And they're all pretty successful. So, and that's where, and it's partially my fault for leaving and coming back and schedules and everything, and I understand that, and I apologize to you a couple times over the last couple weeks, and I've apologized to the audience for not being consistent, but
and I've said though, like, it's the thing is there's still life that happens, and so like I completely understand, because there's never been any malice or any kind of ill intent behind it, so like you truly don't really have to apologize. I mean,
I know
we do what we got to do.
I feel like I have to, though, because we've been friends and doing this show for a long time, and
yeah,
it's still
it's been difficult, like, especially now not being on the Boss Rush show anymore. I don't really get to talk to anyone.
Yeah,
so sucks,
nobody's been on the Boss Rush podcast, because Laurent and I have been discussing behind the scenes of like, well, how do we do this now? Because like, everyone's so busy. I don't want to do more than 2 shows a week because of life and work, and hopefully this new job will open some stuff up, and whatever. But I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out, because after episode 100, we did a couple episodes that people did not like, apparently. So we are really trying to rework that show and deliver another, consistent experience. So,
okay.
But yeah,
I mean,
we'll figure all that out. It's everybody's always learning, always trying something new, and I think there's a point where when you keep changing things and keep altering things and keep tweaking things, there's just a point where you just have to stop and like let it go for a while, and then if somebody brings something up, you say, okay, maybe I'll tweak this a little bit, and then we'll move forward. But I have a terrible habit of tweaking and changing things, because I always see something, I'm like, that could be a little bit better, It's terrible.
And I'm the opposite. I'm not really much of a planner, like, my entire life. Like, it's funny, because sometimes I struggle with doing stuff with my friends, because like my friends, a lot of times, even though they don't have kids or whatever, they'll be like, okay, we're gonna do something this day, and we gotta have this all planned out. And I'm just like, dude, like, you tell me you want to do something that day, I'll figure something out, like I've
Mm-hmm.
just never been a planner. So it's really, and again, it kind of comes back to the whole hosting change too, is like, that's the thing. I have a really hard time like trying to plan things, because then I just get too in my head about it, and I stress myself out over things trying to do something in a way that I'm just not used to doing.
Yeah.
So, like it is what it is. And like I talked with, Stoy about this obviously as well, about everything. And I said, like I don't take anything personal. Like I'm sure people did not like me being host, like, and I get it. Like I said, I understand. And like I didn't change because those people didn't like it. I just, in general, I want the show to be better, and I know, like I said, that I was not really that good at doing that position, but I did enjoy getting the notes and stuff together, doing parts of like looking through the news and stuff. But
Yeah.
when it came to actually doing it, and like that's the part that I just was not really doing, wasn't coming natural to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you did a good job. I talked to Stoy, and then I talked to both of you. I think Stoy's been a strong addition to the show. Yeah. I think he really has been. And I think the three of us will make a good show, and we'll bring guests on when we want to. If people want to come on, we can bring them on. I know Pat's been on 1 or 2 times from EXP Cast, and I know Ed's filled in a couple times. So, we'll bring people on as needed for guest spot or fill a third chair. But yeah, so here's Arsenal X moving forward. We're gonna do our pre-show banter like we always do. Waste the first 10 or 15 minutes just BSing about crap. We're gonna do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're gonna jump into what we've been playing, and then we'll do this week's news, and then we'll go into Pass It On, which is the Game Pass, what's coming, what's leaving. And then I think we're all going to have a Game Pass pick of the week, so we're going to try to at least play one thing on Game Pass to kind of give a shout out to. And then we'll do a big topic at the end, or questions, or we'll incorporate questions in with the news topics or whatever, and then we'll get out of here. I kind of want to build this into like the podcasts that we listen to, like I listen to Giant Bomb and Sacred Symbols a lot, and those are 2 really long form podcasts. I don't mind if the shows are long, I mean, as long as I'm in bed by like, midnight. But we start recording at 8:30 my time. I don't think a 90-minute or 2-hour show is out of the question. I don't mind if it goes that long. I know maybe I am in the minority, maybe we are in the minority, but we both have jobs where podcasts are like lifesavers, and the longer they are,
Yeah. And I straight up just have a Bluetooth speaker that I prop up there's a little corner in the back part of my shower where I can put it. Even like when I'm taking a shower, I could prop my Bluetooth speaker up there and blast it and listen to podcasts while I'm taking a shower, while I'm doing whatever. So like I carry that Bluetooth speaker around with me a lot, listening to stuff.
Yeah. It's I've been working at our warehouse the last week or so, because somebody at our job is quitting, who used to go up there and put the warehouse stuff away, and now I get to do that. And let me tell you, a 2 to 3 hour podcast up there is really nice in the mornings, because what I do, I'll go into work at 5:30 and scan in all of our inventory, and then after I scan it in, I'll take the stuff that goes to our warehouse up to the warehouse and put it away. And let me tell you, if I have like a 3-hour podcast to listen to, I'm like, thank God, just thank God. So
yeah, it definitely helps, because I've been at jobs where I couldn't, because I was listening to the radio before I started getting into podcasting. I would listen to the radio show that I like, and whenever I could, and I always hated it when I would go to places or had to clean at places where I wasn't able to have headphones.
Yeah.
Because it sucked.
Yeah.
And those were always the worst. Those were always the places that I had to work 12-hour shifts. Yeah. And I couldn't listen to a damn thing that whole time, and it sucked.
Yeah. I hate not being able to listen to stuff. But yeah, this is Arsenal X moving forward. What episode is this? I don't even know what episode this is.
I think it's like 153.
I guess I could just go to our YouTube channel and look it up. YouTube.com/Fosh Network. Like, subscribe, share.
154.
It's 153.
Oh, okay. I was right.
So
I should know. I edited it. I should know.
That's the thing, right, too. Do you want to still edit it, or do you want me to do it?
I mean, I enjoy doing it.
Okay.
The only thing is I know there are some things and we can talk about it later. But yeah, I don't mind editing it at all, because I like that I'm being able to do stuff like that again that I used to do. Like I've even, here I need to get some stuff for it, but I wanna start like just randomly recording and making little video clip things that I could, even just share as just random stuff on our YouTube or whatever, like just fun things, goofy things, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we can talk about it after. I don't care that you edit it. I'm perfectly honest, since I'm still editing Power Block and the interviews and Tower Casuals. So, I mean, that would a huge help if you want to continue doing that. I don't mind doing it, though.
I mean, I wanted to get a computer so I could help, and, so, I mean, my computer works perfectly fine for editing. It doesn't take too long at all, so.
Yeah.
I've gotten used to it, so.
Okay. Well, we'll save the housekeeping for next week. Let's just jump into what we've been playing. Jesse, what have you been playing? I know you said you've been watching a lot, but what are you playing?
Yeah, so I jumped into Art of the Rally a little bit. There's a couple of things I've been playing, but yeah, I jumped into that and I played it, and I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it at first. And I think it was just kind of like we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I have days where I just like certain things just I have to be in the mood for playing games in general, or just certain kinds of games. Mm-hmm. And I think, it just happened that the first time I jumped into Art of Rally, I just wasn't feeling that I wasn't into that kind of game. That wasn't what I needed to be playing that day. So I didn't really have any, good or bad about it, but I jumped back into it yesterday, and I was playing it, and I did a bunch of the levels, and I really like that game. I'm really bad at it. I still need to figure out how to do the drifting around corners without sliding off the road. I'm not good at it, but I'm having fun trying to get better at it. And I do just really like the simplicity of that game. And it's part of it brings me back to the days of when I loved playing, RC Pro-Am and stuff like that, where it's more of a almost top down kind of view, almost, or like a drone kind of view. But but with this, it's kind of a really cool art style, and just looks very simplistic at the first glance, but when you play it, it's very, very mechanically, it's very, very difficult and realistic as far as drifting and stuff goes. You really need to make sure that you're turning and you're braking and throwing yourself into those drifts just right, or otherwise you'll just lose control in it, and and you'll have to, start over. Or they re-put you back on the track. I just love like the peaceful, quiet, kind of chill music that's just playing in the background while you're playing. It's just a really good game for like when you just want to sit and relax and not really have to think too much, but still kind of have something that's a little challenging. It's definitely been good for that. And especially coming off of the other thing that I played, I ended up finishing the Wolfenstein, was it New Order? And like after that, like, crazy like guns shooting everywhere and stuff, like going to Ardor Rally, it's like the complete opposite. It's just a nice, relaxing, calm, soothing game after coming off of that. But yeah, like that was the other game that I was playing was that. And I did finally finish it. So like when I first started the Wolfenstein New Order, I think it was like shortly after it came out that I got it, and I played it a little bit, and for whatever reason I just was not feeling it that day, and I just kind of set it aside, and I never really went back to it until recently. And then I picked it back up from where I left off, kind of remember what had happened, and just like instantly fell in love with it. And then I was just ready to just keep grinding at it until I finished it. And I really did enjoy that game a lot, and like the story and stuff was really good. So now I'm gonna jump here. I think I'm going to play the expansion, like standalone game that came out after it, and then go to 2, but I'm not sure. I guess I don't know how.
The Old Blood? You're talking about the Old Blood, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I don't think it's more of like an interstitial story more than just like I really don't know, because I never finished the first game, so I don't really know how it ends. So I can't really tell you, but I think that I'm pretty sure the Old Blood is just a kind of series of levels, and I know that there's a lot of secret old Wolfenstein levels in there that you can play through. So there's that, I guess. I don't know. I heard it's okay, but I don't think you're missing anything if you just move on to 2.
Okay.
I know
that
Youngblood and the DLC for 2 are very story heavy, but I don't know if Old Blood is.
Okay.
I guess I could look it up. We are sitting in front of machines that tell us everything if we want to.
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's kind of been my plan. And then I've also been playing Splitgate. I just kind of been wanting, looking for something here before Battlefield and Halo come out here. I'm just really, I'm so ready right now for some good multiplayer game, like online multiplayer, first person shooter games. I'm getting really sick of Fortnite really being the only thing that I have, lately to go to. So I'm really looking forward to Battlefield and Halo and stuff. But yeah, Splitgate I've been jumping into occasionally. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. There's fireworks going on at our house.
Huh.
Our house started shaking. I'm like, what is that? What is happening? And it's the city's like bicentennial whatever celebration, and like I'm just like, oh my god, stop! Do you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Jeez. Yeah. Oh my gosh! If my kids wake up, I'm gonna be really upset. Speaking of, I need to move my daughter to her bed soon. But yeah, I played a little bit of Splitgate a couple weeks ago actually, and it's fun. It's fine. I mean, I play a lot of Halo and Destiny, and I feel like I would just rather play those games. I feel like I feel like Splitgate is a good game for people who are kind of tired of the Master Chief Collection and want something a little bit different, but also a little bit familiar, which is exactly what it feels like. It feels like Halo 3 kind of slowed down a little bit, but with portals, right? And the portal stuff is cool, but also every time we went to play, nobody really used the portals. So it was like, yeah. Also, all of the skins are hideous.
That's the one thing, is it really needs some polish, and and that will come in time, I think, but there is it's pretty bad.
It's a choice, they made it, it's fine. I mean, it's an interesting concept. I wonder how long that game will survive because of Halo being free on 2 platforms now, 3 platforms technically. I'm moving my camera. I hate that this angled look is not working for me. So sorry for all this crap in the background, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. So
the one thing that I do love though about it is I use the shit out of the portals.
Yeah, I used them too. I'm like, this is cool. Like, you can totally just like sneak up on somebody or whatever, and it's just like, nope.
I just love like running, like having knowing someone is right behind me, and I'll bait them, so they'll I'll want them to chase me on purpose, because I had already put a portal up on the wall, to the left of where they're running, and I shoot one in front of me, and then I come out right behind them and I just murder them, and it feels so good when you pull it off. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. By the way, the first like 10 games I played of that game, I wrecked everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people are saying that that's kind of how it goes, but I felt like I was the greatest Splitgate player ever to play the game, and I played like 10 matches. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, and well, like, because in the beginning, I feel like you're going up against people who are like, when it's like it's kind of lawless, like there's no rank or nothing to go by, so you're just going against people who are just starting out like you. But if you have any, like you played Halo or whatever, a lot of that translates over. Like your skill in Halo, because like I was watching some videos of people, and there was one of my matches I went like almost 30 and 0. Like, I killed 30 people and died 0 times. Like, I forget what it was called, but there is the how they have the voice that comes on and talks about the different names of the I forget what they're called, but I got the one after the like Killtacular or whatever it's called. I don't remember what they call it, but yeah, I was like, holy crap. I looked at my score at the end and I'm like, dang. Because what I was doing is there's this one map where there's these tubes that are going around the top of the outside of the map.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, it's all it almost looks like a paintball map or something like that.
Yeah.
And what I was doing is I would just keep running around that outside, and I would get the SMG and kept on refilling it. And if you go up against someone with that SMG, there is no way they're gonna win unless unless they have a SMG as well, because that thing is just like, if you get good shots with it, it shoots so fast.
Yeah,
you just don't have a chance. And that's how I ended up doing it. I was just murdering everyone, where I kept on doing the loop, and I could just keep on refilling the ammo on the submachine gun, and just no one stood a chance against me.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing though.
Yeah. Splitgate is cool. I don't know. It's fun to play with friends. I don't know if I would recommend it to just like anyone, I mean, I guess the biggest draw is for people on PlayStation who don't have access to Halo. That would be where you would play it, I guess.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I mean, it's fun. You know, if friends wanted to play it, I'll play it. But it's not going to be my first choice, especially with Halo Infinite coming out and how great the test flight felt and everything. Like,
yeah, because so you got to actually play it, right?
Yeah, I played the test flight a couple weeks ago, and I got to tell you, man, it felt really good. It felt like the best parts of Halo 3 and 4 mixed together, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was slower than Halo 5.
Okay.
Definitely a lot slower. There's no dash the way that Halo 5 has, which I actually really missed. I actually really liked the dash mechanic, but I know a lot of people didn't. A lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about Halo 5. The only thing I have bad to say about Halo 5 is the story. I still don't know what's happening. But the gameplay was fun. I thought the gameplay was fun. What I liked a lot about it, which we're going to actually talk about it in our first story, they got a lot of feedback with the test flight. I liked the way the guns felt. They definitely felt like they took a lot of time to make sure that they felt right. They feel like evolutions of guns from Halo 2 and 3 instead of like kind of overhauls that they did in 4 and 5, which I think is what a lot of people want. The battle rifle feels great. The sounds of the guns sound great. It definitely feels like they played a lot of Halo 2 and 3 to make these guns feel right. So armor abilities are back, which are cool. The bots teabag you when they kill you, which is funny. I think we played 2 maps. There's a map that was outside, it was fine, but there was definitely a map inside, which was a really, really cool map. I really enjoyed it. It felt like this is going to be the one of the Halo Infinite maps we point out. This is an instant classic map. It had a lot of Titanfall vibes to it, honestly, like just the way it looked and just the way like the interiors felt, and like it felt like you could go outside and you could call your Titan down and start playing Titanfall. That's what the map felt like. A lot of verticality in these maps, so it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I still feel like Destiny is going to be my go-to in terms of shooters, but Halo is going to be the alternate. It's going to be a good alternate for me. I'm really excited for Halo Infinite. I'm a little bummed that co-op campaign is not going to be there at launch, but other than that, Halo Infinite I feel like is going to be, if the campaign is good and they nail the multiplayer, I think Halo Infinite is going to be all right. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fine. I like the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass stuff feels good. I hope that they change the only way to progress is to do the challenges. I do hope that they change that, because like, as much as I like doing bounties and stuff in Destiny, or like, you know, I know Fortnite has those challenges on their Battle Pass. It's just like, sometimes people just aren't good enough to do them. You know, they're just not. I know I'm not good enough to do some of them, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'll pass on that. I guess I'm not progressing this week because of this whatever. So
yeah, I mean, I think as long as they make the things that you have to do reasonable, like, you know, get 5 headshots or something, you know, like, you know, once you've gotten the 5 headshots, then boom, there's your big chunk of XP that will upgrade your battle pass or whatever. You know, like if they have all that stuff kind of built into the game already that tracks like how many, like after death kills you got, and how many, this and how many that you've gotten throughout your entire, playthroughs of online stuff. So like all they essentially need to do is break those into small objectives of like, you need to get so many of this, and then it'll pop the, the big upgrade to your, your level of your game, your battle pass. And I think as long as they do that, and like, because that's kind of somewhat what not Battlefield, but that's what Fortnite kind of does, is they just have like simplistic things like that will get you the XP to upgrade your battle pass. But then they'll have like some things that take a little bit more trial to get, that will give you bigger chunks of XP towards your battle pass, but a lot of that is optional, and it will just make things go quicker. But like, it's not like you're benefiting in any way that's like pay to play or anything like that, but it's just you're getting more for more for what you're doing. But I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing, is we, like, once we find more out about like how they're gonna do that, as long as they do it like in an easy way like that, I don't think it should be that big of a deal. But yeah, you're not gonna, I don't want them to do like, like, hey, if you gotta get 20 kills in a row without dying, like there's just not gonna be people who are gonna be able to, majority of people, it's gonna really be something that would be hard for them to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so I hope they change some of this stuff, but overall, like, Halo is Halo. I just want to play, and if I do some of the challenges, great. If not, whatever. I'm not. I mean, I could be invested if this is fun. Like, if they come out and say, "Hey, this is super awesome. Here's everything that you've ever wanted in a shooter." I'm like, "Okay, cool, great, let's do it." But I don't know. I still feel like it need. I don't know what Halo needs. It just feels like it needs more to draw me in, even though I'll be in, but I won't be like 100% in, which I don't think is a bad thing, because like Game Pass has hundreds of games at this point that, like, maybe I don't want to be 100% sucked in. Maybe I'm going to want to try out Forza. Maybe I'll get sucked into Forza this year and just drive around and whatever. But, but other than that, I've played a lot of Psychonauts 2 lately. I played the first I've played about 3.5 hours, but I don't know how far I am. I think the game's only about 11 hours, but I've been doing a lot of like roaming around and scrounging for stuff instead of just like moving through the campaign or the story or whatever. It's fun. I think it's really charming. I think the art style is cool. I always liked that first game. Definitely has the Double Fine aesthetic to it. Definitely the characters are the best part of the game. The platforming is really fun. I think it's really cool that they are like, hey, we have segments that focus on platforming, and then we have segments that will focus on combat, and then we'll move on to more platforming, instead of like trying to mix it all together, Now, granted, there are parts where like, oh, there's bad guys in the platforms and you have to like kill them before you move on or whatever, but like, there's not a lot of that. It's not like a Mario game where like, oh, if I don't kill this Goomba when I land on this platform because it's only one block, I'm going to get hit and die or whatever. It's more of like, okay, well, I see that guy is on that platform. Maybe I can use my telekinesis power to throw this rock at him and knock him off or whatever, so I can jump there safely or whatever. So it's cool. It's a pretty big puzzle. I would say almost categorize it as a puzzle platformer, because there's so many different puzzles that you have to solve, and it's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to be done with it by next weekend, because I'm gonna try to edit some stuff together and make maybe a small video review, hopefully at some point. But the big thing I've been playing, which is what I'm always playing when I'm playing games, is Destiny. Season of the Lost started. It's gosh, man, Destiny is becoming it's becoming an overwhelming game to participate in, and it's almost like they don't care about getting new players anymore because of how much stuff they're always changing and bringing in. And I mean, a couple 2 weeks ago maybe we talked about it on Tower Casuals, where like they're going full RPG when the Witch Queen comes out. They're revamping all the subclasses to have more customization. They're bringing in weapon crafting and a ton of changes to everything. It's just like it's going to be almost be a totally different game at this point. And I've just been playing a lot of it just to like just grind and get everything ready and masterwork stuff and be prepared for this giant change coming in February. And I'm also really excited for the 30th anniversary event that's coming. They're adding a new dungeon. All of their 30th anniversary ornaments are Halo themed, Marathon themed. They're really cool. It's really cool. So I can't wait for that. And yeah, I'm just having fun. Season of the Lost is going to be 7 months long at this point, which is, I mean, they delayed the Witch Queen by 3 or 4 months, so they had to do something, in this 30th anniversary event in Destiny is probably going to be cool. They're bringing back Galahorn, which I'm excited, which was nice. Like the crazy Destiny 1 rocket launcher that everybody had to have. And it's infamous if you played Year 1 Destiny 1. It's just, you wanted to raid, you had to have Galahorn. If you didn't have it, good luck type situation.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing. It's kind of it. It's really just been Destiny all the time, and then like once a week I'll pop Psychonauts on to try to record some of it. So, but yeah, that's kind of it, Jesse. That's all I've been playing. It's been fun though.
Nice.
I've actually been playing games, which is a change for me.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
which is always a good thing. Yeah. I know, like now all the stuff up to the latest stuff has been added to the Game Pass version, right? Like essentially all the stuff for Destiny 2, except for the new stuff that's going to be coming out or whatever, right?
All the major expansions are on Game Pass. The season passes are not on Game Pass. So
okay,
like if you want to play the Season of the Lost stuff, you can't play it unless you spend the extra $10. The Beyond Light campaign's there. There's a lot of stuff for Beyond Light there, but like it's weird because it's almost like this umbrella thing where like Beyond Light is the expansion, but then there's like 4 separate seasons within Beyond Light that are $10 a piece if you want to play them.
Okay. Which, I mean, if you have Game Pass and you're not paying the $30 for those, expansions every year or whatever, I mean, the $10 for a thing or whatever, and I think that's how they see it. That's how they see the business model of that is, hey, like a lot of people that are playing this are probably playing on Game Pass. So if we charge the $10 for this, it's, it's not going to be as big of a deal for the people who have Game Pass because they got everything else for free already.
Yeah, but, and those expansions will remain on Game Pass for a while, I think. Mm-hmm. The Witch Queen, as of right now, is not coming to Game Pass.
Okay.
So, if you want to get in, this is the time to get in. I would start at Forsaken just for the story beats. I mean, the campaigns aren't very long. They're probably about 5 to 8 hours a piece. The Shadowkeep campaign is not long at all. The Shadowkeep campaign's like 3 or 4 hours, maybe. The Beyond Light campaign is a little bit longer. But yeah, I would play the campaigns at least. And if you're enjoying yourself with the campaigns, I would buy the Season of the Lost stuff because it's cool though, because like if you bought all of the seasons and you kind of sat out, they started something new this year where like the seasons don't end at the end of the season. So like the Season of the Hunt was the first season in the Beyond Light campaign, or Beyond Light expansion. And like usually the last week of the season pass like the season would expire and then it would move on to the next season. Well, when Season of the Chosen started, they left all the Season of the Hunt stuff in the game so you could play through it if you missed it. Now the season pass is gone, but the content is still there and you can still play it up until the Witch Queen comes out, which is cool. Okay. So if you want to jump in, this is the time to jump in. You play through the Forsaken campaign, you play through the Shadowkeep campaign, play through the Beyond Light campaign, and then you still have all 4 seasons to play through.
Nice.
Of Beyond Light, so that's cool. But they will leave in February when the Witch Queen comes out.
Okay.
So, but
that's cool though.
Not to get too deep into Destiny, but that's what I've been playing. That's where I'm at now. I still got to do the story stuff for this week. It's so crazy because like the way they've been doing the narrative in Destiny is every week they release a story mission now.
Oh, like every week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Just to keep players coming back and engaged and stuff. And it's crazy. It's so crazy. Dude, the story right now in Destiny is so crazy. And I'm just like looking stuff up on the internet to make sure I'm caught up in the right ways. Cause there's so much. Cause like, you know, the biggest complaint with Destiny up until about, I would say like a year and a half ago is like, the lore is so fascinating, but it's you always have to go outside the game to find the interesting stories. Well, I would say starting with Season of Arrivals last year with Shadowkeep, which was the last season of Shadowkeep, the narrative really started coming around to being like, oh, gosh, these fireworks, man. How long are these fireworks? Yeah. Sorry, everybody. If you're hearing bombs in the background, my neighborhood might explode. I'm not sure. But the narrative in Season of Arrivals and leading into Beyond Light, and then the narrative they're telling in Beyond Light and the seasonal stuff has been unmatched to anything I've played recently in terms of campaign stuff. And it's just like, man, if you did not follow the lore and you're like following the narrative now, there's a lot of Googling you're going to be doing of who are these characters. Like, who's Evo Arath? Who's this guy? Why am I talking to him? Like, why is this guy important? Why are we all of a sudden now friends with the Fallen? And why are they in the city now? And you know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of like, oh, I remember murdering these guys a year ago. Why are we best friends now? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
man. And like, if you jumped out and you jump back in the season, you're like, why is Saint 14 alive? I thought he was dead. Well, you know, 2 years ago, there was a season where we went through the time portals on Mercury and ended up saving Saint 14, and now he's alive. So
yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's cool because, you know, like, especially if you have a podcast every week that talks about that game, you know you're gonna have, you know, plenty to talk about that week.
Yeah, it's actually given us a better structure for that show where, like, for Tower Casuals, we usually talk about the TWAB this week at Bungie. It's their weekly blog that goes up telling about the sandbox changes or news or whatever. It's really nice actually because we record on Thursday nights and they drop it at like 4:30 on Thursdays. So like it gives us a nice like kind of, you know, thing. Then we talk about the story stuff that's happening in the game, and then we talk about the lore that's happening behind the story in the game. So it's like giving us a really nice structure for the show to have a story beat every week. But man, it is, if you do not play, like, I know Bungie said they want you to go play other games and then come back to Destiny, but like it's very hard to not play Destiny every week now, you know?
Yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm loving it though. I mean, as someone who's been playing that game since the Destiny 1 alpha, and like has rarely taken any breaks from that game, it's been an interesting time of like, man, there really is no time for breaks in this game anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, it definitely makes you proud that and glad that they kind of went off and did their own thing and broke away from Activision. And because I mean, a lot of this stuff, I just don't know that they would be able to do things the way they're doing it.
Yeah, it's it definitely feels like with that original Activision kind of contract that they did, it really feels like Beyond Light was going to be the start of Destiny 3. And I don't think they wanted to reset everybody again, Yeah. And so Season of Arrivals really felt like, because let me see. They broke up with Activision about, I want to say 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago at this point. But they're always working on content like 8 to 12 months in advance to have it ready for the season, right? Mm-hmm. It really feels like Season of Arrivals, which was about a year after they broke up with Activision, was really the point where they're like, we have a plan. This is where the plan is starting. And they've really committed to it. And I got to give it to them. I gotta give it to them for really finding a flow and a way to keep Destiny interesting and fresh every season. Every season has a new seasonal event that they do every week, which is like this season it's the what is it called? The Wayfinder's Compass, which is behind me on TV. And it's just a 6-person activity where you go in and you matchmake into this activity, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and you grind for gear, and it's a fun time. It's not ridiculously difficult. It's easy to get through 10, 15 minutes, and you're in, you're out. You do the bounties, you get gear, you level up your compass, and you just move on, right? Like it's a fun activity to grind for stuff. And then, all the regular stuff is in there, like strikes and Crucible and Gambit and, bounties on other planets and nightfalls and raids and all this other stuff. I forgot to talk about the most important thing I did in Destiny this week. So there's a 3-player dungeon called Prophecy. And me and my friend Mitch have been trying to do it for almost a year at this point, because it dropped last November, I think. Okay. And we have never done it. And we finally found a third person, this guy that I work with, Jeff. And we played through Prophecy Dungeon for the first time this weekend. Nice. Let me tell you, it was really fun. And it was really cool. Like it felt like a small easy raid, right? It's not too complicated, but there's mechanics in there. There's like puzzles during battles that you have to kind of go through, right? And they were really cool puzzles. They were really they weren't difficult, but when you got them, you felt like, yeah, I did it. And then like you're also battling enemies while you're trying to solve these puzzles, which is always fun. But yeah, man, the Prophecy Dungeon was cool. We're going to try to do the other 2 dungeons because we had never done. The only dungeon I've ever done is Pit of Heresy, and I've only done it one time, and it was okay. It was pretty hard. Like there's a section in there where these ogres are chasing you, and you can't kill them, and they're just kind of chasing you, and you have to like go into these tunnels and get these keys, and it's just a kind of a nightmare. But it
just feels like a runner game
almost. It's just like, oh my gosh, these things are just gonna kill me and just get me out of here. And then I forget what the other one is called, but yeah, I like the dungeons a lot. They're really fun to try to figure out, and if you have 2 other friends, they're fun, simple, kind of like, I guess you would say like pre-raid things. So like if you're not comfortable enough doing a raid, but you want to try one, the dungeons are kind of maybe the way to go at this point. Plus you get cool gear out of it.
Do you? Okay.
I got a cool sniper rifle, got some cool armor. So nice.
Is it like a set that you get?
Yeah, it's what is it called? It's the so there's an in-game activity called Trials of Osiris, which is a 3-player PvP thing. But in vanilla Destiny, that event was called Trials of the Nine, and it was this really cool kind of futuristic looking armor with these. I don't know. You can look up the armor if you want. It's really cool, kind of sleek looking armor and weapons and stuff. It used to. The weapons in this dungeon used to be the Escalation Protocol weapons from Mars, which was all like based off like the Warmind stuff for people who are following that. It's like this AI war. Rasputin is the Warmind from Mars, and it's all kind of based off that aesthetic. So you can look that up. But the coveted weapon was always the shotgun, because it's just like it's just this big, just ridiculously huge kind of powerful shotgun. You shoot it, it kills everything in one shot. It's just ridiculous. Which I got, by the way. It's a world drop now, so I don't have to do any hard activities. I just hope it drops from an engram and I can get it. But they switched it this season to the Trials of the Nine set from vanilla D1. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of times the way they do things, it's usually like there's a set of something that you can get by playing that, and and then just keep grinding it to get the set.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna keep grinding it because there's a couple good weapons out of there. Like the hand cannon's really good, the sidearm's really good, the sniper's good if you get a good roll on it. I mean, they're going full RPG now, so there's random rolls on all the weapons. So you might get like the coveted weapon. But if you get the weapon and the roll sucks on it, you might as well just trash it or, infuse it into something else. So, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to bore people about Destiny. We do a whole show.
I'll be honest. It's more for me because I've fallen out of it. Not that I wasn't interested in it, but I've I just haven't kept up on it really, with what's going on and stuff. And I have listened to some of the episodes of your guys' show, but I've literally got 50 podcasts on my podcast list. So half the time I don't even have time to listen to the ones that I want to.
Yeah, no, I delete podcasts a lot that I just I don't have time to listen to this because I'm listening to something else, and I would much rather listen to these shows in order. And this, I have in my podcast list, I have these are the shows that I'm definitely going to listen to. It's like a tiered system where and then this one's okay, if I finish my primary podcasts, these ones are up next. And then there's a third tier is if I have time, I'll get to them. If not, they're just out.
Yeah, I basically do the same thing.
So, but yeah, we also did Vault of Glass too, which was the original Destiny 1 raid that they brought back this expansion. And I don't know, a lot of people are this is the best raid. I'm it's good. It's not the best. I still think King's Fall is the best raid they've ever done, which was the Taken King raid, but which they'll bring it back next year. So I'm excited for that.
So in other words, raids are going to be like Disney movies. They'll just bring them back every few years.
Their goal now, what they said in the reveal event, was they're going to have a raid or a dungeon release every 3 months. And so it's going to be new raid, new dungeon, refresh raid, refresh dungeon is what we're thinking. Although there's not really any dungeons to refresh.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get new dungeons, or a lot of people in the Destiny community think they're going to bring back Crota's End, which was the second raid in Destiny 1, as a 3-man dungeon instead of a 6-man raid, because it's really people have soloed the raid. That's how easy it is. Or easy, quote unquote. But we'll see. I'm excited that they're bringing back King's Fall, and hopefully I will get to raid more in the future, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Jesse, we're an hour into the show. we should probably talk about some of the news.
That sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So we talked about Halo earlier. 343 Industries reveals the key feedback from Halo Infinite's technical preview. This is from Pure Xbox. They had a really, really great breakdown of the positive stuff that people, and then like they called it feedback, but this is probably the stuff that people didn't really like. So there's so much here. If you want to go through it, all of it, you can, but I kind of want to talk about some of the standout stuff. Accessibility. So one of the things that they said was the friend or foe outlines, which was like the in Halo, when you did Team Slayer or Big Team Battle or whatever, you know how everybody, when you customize your Spartan, you can say, oh, well, I want like yellow armor or purple armor or whatever, like, and you can kind of customize your Spartan that way. And then when you went into Team Slayer or whatever, you would automatically be red or blue.
Yeah.
That changed in Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
And what they did was kind of like the gears system where, okay, well, if you're far away, you're kind of highlighted, like the enemy is kind of highlighted red or blue, but when you get up close, they're normal colors, which I kind of found confusing a little bit because the maps were actually small enough to where that outline didn't really exist, although that could have been like a menu setting that I never really toggled on or off. But a lot of people found that was really cool. So that was a big thing. Some of the feedback was a desired auto sprint, which I don't know why you want an auto sprint. I don't really care to auto sprint because like that's just going to set you off on their radar faster. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, like that's, yeah, the whole radar thing, it's different.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I guess it all depends on how you want to play, but
yeah,
you know, and I mean, they should, you know, have an option if people want to, you know.
Yeah.
Let people play how they want to play. That's.
Yeah. I'm not going to go through all these. I realize I just kind of started listing things, but I just want to list some of the stuff that I found interesting. Everybody loved the music. Halo music's always great, so I don't know why you would have any bad feedback on that. One of the things I thought was interesting though with the in-game audio is people want the Needler's audio to sound more crystallized, which is I thought it just, like, I get it. I think it just sounded like when the rupture happens, right? Because like the big thing with the Needler is like it sticks in you and then it's like a time bomb and it explodes, right? It just sounded like glass breaking, which I thought was fine, but I think maybe a more crystallized sound would be cool. Another thing they wanted was like granular controls over in-game voice versus like personal AI versus Spartan chatter versus multiplayer announcer. I guess like what they sound like or changing the volumes of certain things or whatever. So
yeah, I know the one thing too, like that I had seen they kind of change and like talked about was the radar, how the radar works, that it's more like in Halo 2 and 3 versus what it kind of was, what it's more of the what is it? I think it does more of the like the radar thing goes out and then you can see where they are instead of it like just being constant or something like that. I don't remember the exact, but I had seen they had already made some changes to the radar, or just, you know, like from the previous game, and made it more like the original one was, because yeah, people had said that they liked the combat sensor like of the older games better, so they tried to make it more like that.
Yeah. One of the things I thought was really interesting was people really loved the personal AI settings, because this is the first time you're going to be able to have a personal AI with you, which is interesting. I still don't really, maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but I really don't understand what the personal AI does, really. People love having their own personal AI for the first time. People love customizing their AI. They desire more customization options, separate voice from the body, more shapes, more voices, more colors, that kind of stuff. Desire to preview personal AI's voice and personality in the lobby. I feel like you should just be able to do that in the menu. I don't think you need to be in a lobby to do that. Desire to increase the variety of their lines, and desire to control how much the personal AI talks, including even turning them on or off if desired. So I thought there's a lot of interesting feedback about the personal AI.
Yeah, it did. So if I remember correctly, I think they kind of do call outs similar to like in Call of Duty, you know, like your character. It's like technically you'll hear call outs from people playing on your team.
Yeah.
But it's just part of the AI doing it. It's, you know, it's not that person actually pushing a button to do that. It's just to make it feel like you're in a squad of guys and you're communicating with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the AI ends up doing, is it will call out things for you.
Okay.
Say like, hey, like you know, a ghost incoming or something, or, you know, or there's a tank, you know, incoming, or, you know, just to kind of let you know about things that you may not find out, you know, for yourself, like soon enough to react to how you want to handle going into an area. If I remember correctly, that's what the AI does, is it does like call outs and things like that.
Yeah.
And kind of helps you.
Maybe it does. Maybe if like a teammate isn't close enough, maybe they do call outs or something. Cause like I felt like I heard a lot of call outs from teammates, but also like I kind of had the volume down low because I was playing with people. So maybe I just wasn't paying attention because I was paying attention to the people I was playing with. So
yeah, because like they'll say, you know, like weapon drop incoming, and then like letting you know that those pods with ammo and stuff are coming down in your area. I know that for sure. That was one of the things I remember them kind of talking about when they were first kind of going over the AI, like in those videos that we've seen in the past, as like your AI calling out that those ammo refill drops and weapon drops are coming in, so you know to look for them.
Yeah,
you know, because I remember like them focusing on some of that, and the AI with, you know, letting you know when those kind of environmental things were happening.
Yeah.
So, which is, you know, is good. Like, you know, if you're really wanting to focus on other things and not worry about that, and have a voice telling you when you need to worry about those things, that, you know, it can be nice.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. A lot of people had a lot of good things to say about the HUD. Very streamlined. Some things people wanted was to see access to a second grenade, like the second grenade type, which was something I noticed. I was like, this usually isn't a problem in Halo, but sometimes I didn't even know if I had a second grenade picked up because it didn't really give that information to you. So weapons, a lot of people were pretty overall positive on the weapons, except some people felt the hammer was too strong but too slow. So that was some of the feedback for that. I highly recommend going to look at this if you're interested in it. Overall, I had a pretty decent experience. I agree with some of this stuff. I disagree with some of it, but overall I think that there's a lot of good feedback, and I wish more people would take this stuff seriously instead of like, you know, we're calling it a beta, but the game's out next week, you know. What was the game? What was the game that had the open beta and then the game was out? Like they announced the game went gold while the beta was going on. It's like, that, why would you do that? I think it was Back for Blood, actually.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, was it Anthem?
Well, is Anthem still alive? Like, can you still play it?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because
I think
I
about that game
forget
a
what I
lot.
was listening to, but I remember someone saying that they were playing it. But
Yeah, I think about that game a lot.
yeah, there was so many great things about it. It just there, yeah,
Yeah, I I liked. I wish I would have kept playing that game, but man, just man. Now my son's crying. Man, there's just too many sounds today. Sorry, everybody. But you have. I mean, I know you didn't really play the technical test, but do you have anything you want to add to this before we move on?
I'm just excited to play something of it if I can get into this next flight
Yeah,
that they have coming. I think there's rumored to be this month.
yeah. It's
You know,
probably the next week or two, I'm sure.
yeah.
So,
I mean, when's Tokyo Game Show? I forget when is the Tokyo Game Show.
it's usually the first week of October, but I'm not sure when it is this year. It's usually the
Okay.
first week of October.
Part of me wonders if it's gonna maybe come out around there.
Yeah.
But like we might get a I don't know, get a little something about Halo, and then like just say that, hey, there,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just ready for it. That's all I know. Like I said, I'm ready for this and the new Battlefield. I'm super excited about that game.
Yeah. Yeah, Battlefield looks really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but it definitely looks interesting. When it comes to Game Pass, I'll definitely try it out and play it with you, but
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
it's just for me, like like them finally coming back to that modern stuff, and then on top of that, like, I mean, they've always been, in my opinion, the better one. Like, I've always liked that you could change out your loadouts while you're in a game, and you didn't have to wait until that match was over to do it. Like, you could always do it. But I love now that you can literally just like pull up each attachment, and like it gives you the list of what attachments you have that you can change to on the fly while you're in the middle of running through the field.
Right.
Like, I just love that. Like, so yeah, there's just a lot of things that it's doing, and that Halo is doing, that I'm looking forward to both of those games. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just ready for it. I'm ready to play it.
Speaking of shooters, our next story comes from Game Informer. Judge Dredd is coming to Call of Duty. Jesse, are you excited? Are you excited for this? Call of Duty Season 5 continues to roll along with some substantial additional content updates and announcements, with most landing next week on September 9th. However, the biggest is clearly a new operator skin that lets players live the dream of becoming Judge Dredd and dispensing some justice on the enemy. Now, if people are keeping up with Call of Duty at all, you know that Rambo and John McClane are part of it. I think there's even the character from Saw in there at some point. Oh yeah, right here. Literally the next paragraph. The Saw puppet.
Yeah, so. And I know I bought the Leatherface. I have Leatherface on one of the last Call of Duty games, but I've dropped off of them because I was really excited about the last one, and like it was the first one that was getting like that would have legit like next gen like kind of patch to make it look better anyways, like make it look 4K and run decent and all that stuff. And like every time I would play it though, like I would have where sometimes the image quality of the game felt like it was only in like 720p when I was running it at 4K, and I was just having some really bad issues where everything looked really 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 bad sometimes, and there was just a lot of issues in it. Like that whole time when I was trying to keep giving it a try, they didn't fix it. Now I'm sure by now I would hope they fix those issues, but I just kind of gave up on it because I don't like their new battle royale mode. I did at first, but it just started to get old really quickly, and it just didn't have the fun, goofy things that Blackout had, and in Black Ops or whatever, when they did that very first battle royal mode. And yeah, and it just was not for me. And so there really hasn't been a whole lot, and to go to that for me. Like, I just kind of have fallen out of it because they've completely changed their focus and things and stuff like that, and it's just not for me anymore. And and like, who knows, maybe someday, like, and I, not to get into this too much, but like, I was hearing a lot of people say, like, hey, like, I know all this stuff is going on with Activision, Blizzard stuff and all that, but we still want to support the people who are working on these games, and and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, these people aren't necessarily the people who should be getting punished for this stuff, because a lot of innocent people then would be getting punished. But man, then you have it where, like, Activision is trying to, like, now it looks like trying to get rid of and shred files that, and like hide stuff even more. And it's like, man, like, I just don't know what to do anymore about any of it, because it's just so nefarious and just so bad, the lengths that now Activision being is doing to try to hide things. And it's just like, now I'm just stuck in a situation where I'm like, I don't know what to do at this point. I just kind of lost interest in anything that they have going on right now, because I'm just so, like, just pissed at, like, what kind of crap they're trying to pull,
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
I really wanted to play I'm more interested in, like, some of the campaign stuff than the multiplayer stuff at this point. Like, I still really want to play the Modern Warfare campaign, which I haven't done yet. I'm not gonna lie, man, I've been so checked out of Call of Duty for so long. Like, I mean, the last time I played was like, I was like, okay, I guess I'll buy Black Ops 4 to play Blackout with you. And that was the last time I really played Call of Duty at all,
Yeah.
And I bought it for that mode. I didn't play any other mode. I literally just played it so we could play together. And I don't know, I've heard mixed things about Warzone, but it seems to be successful, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally, it's like the only thing people stream. It's either that or, or whatever. Like, I mean, whenever I see people playing, streaming stuff, like, when it comes to competitive games, it's usually that.
Yeah.
It's not even Fortnite really that much anymore. It's that.
Yeah.
It's that or Apex, basically. Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll be Halo soon, and then we can all just kind of move along.
Yeah.
Speaking of moving along, I know that you're probably excited about this, Jesse. Alan Wake Remastered listing appears with October release date. The Epic Game Store backend data suggested back in June that this remaster was on the way. It seems like a remaster of Alan Wake might be coming next month, according to a new store listing. Back in June, Alan Wake Remastered appeared alongside Final Fantasy VII Remake with Epic Store backend data. Now, a little over 2 months later, listings for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Xbox versions of Alan Wake Remastered have appeared on a Taiwanese store. Not even going to try to pronounce it. Links on Wario64 posted no longer take you to the Alan Wake Remastered listings, but before the links were changed, IGN was able to reach the links and verify that each took you to the listing of the game. There are screenshots of the box art, so it really looks like Alan Wake is coming back. Probably to kind of go along with the Control Alan Wake verse, whatever they're calling it at this point.
Because they've made it clear that they really want to kind of come back to all that and kind of, continue to move that forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited because I tried playing the original version, and it's not bad. Like I still think it holds up pretty well for considering when it came out. But yeah, I definitely I'll take a remaster any day of something that I like that's older at this point.
Yeah.
So when I seen this, I was like, finally.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing though. They had to prove themselves yet, because unfortunately a lot of people just did not pay attention to the stuff that they released when they were making stuff, only for Xbox. They didn't have too many eyes on them, but now Control finally made people recognize what a force they are in the industry, and they're finally getting the attention that they've deserved, in my opinion, since the beginning, or like I've loved all their games. So
yeah,
but yeah, now that they've got a little bit more attention, I'm glad that they can finally bring some of that old stuff back and hopefully make it look better and stuff. So
yeah. I mean, I really liked Control. I thought the Xbox One version was not great. I feel like if that game ran at 60 frames a second, which the Ultimate Edition does, which it's on sale right now on Xbox, I might just go ahead and do it and maybe play it again. That game would have been so much better. Like, I just felt like it wasn't fluid enough for what it was trying to do, and I think that version would probably be better. But I really liked it. I've never played Alan Wake. This might be, a chance to dive back in. Although I thought Microsoft owned the rights to Alan Wake, the publishing rights, even though Remedy owns Alan Wake, or did they just give it back?
I want to say that Xbox, I think, wanted to make good with them, and had no hard feelings about them moving forward at all. Right. I don't think. So I think they honestly gave that, because there's been a couple of games over the years here that have released on other consoles and stuff that were originally Microsoft Studio like games, but when they wanted to break off and be on multiple consoles, Microsoft had no problem saying, you know what, you can have that. You made it. We don't want to be that kind of, company who's going to be, be doing that, because there's I can't remember what it's called, but the one game that I played a long time ago where you're the brother trying to rescue your other brother that was taken, and that was a Microsoft Studio game, but it's on Switch and everything now. So because they said you can keep it.
Huh. Well,
and I think the same thing is probably happened with possibly with Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know for sure.
I know
it hasn't been confirmed, but
Insomniac they confirmed Insomniac owns the IP of Sunset Overdrive now.
Okay.
Microsoft owns the publishing rights to the first game. Yeah. But if Sony wanted to make some sort of remaster or remake or whatever of that first game, then they could, I think, is how that is going to go. But
in other words, Microsoft is playing nice because they don't want to create enemies
Yeah,
that they don't need to.
I mean, to be fair, they're making all the right moves, I feel like, to be.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about that at the end of the show as a quick topic at the end.
Yeah.
I know we've been going kind of long, but I don't care. We are gonna move along though. So the last story we're gonna talk about tonight is Mass Effect 5. Are they calling it Mass Effect 5? I don't know if that's. This is pure Xbox. I think they're just calling it the next Mass Effect at this point. They're probably gonna call it Mass Effect 4. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 5 may use Unreal Engine instead of EA's Frostbite. Everything is on the table. God, I know. I don't even need to read the article. So, for those who don't know, Mass Effect Andromeda was in development for like 4 or 5 years. And that whole game was built on Frostbite in 18 months because Frostbite was so hard to use that they couldn't do what they wanted to do. Like, that game was originally supposed to be like some sort of more exploration style game, like No Man's Sky, where you could fly to different planets and just explore the planets and find kind of generated yeah, I mean yeah, but the original trilogy and the legendary edition of the trilogy were all built on Unreal, so I think it would be safe to say that going Unreal would be the correct thing, especially because like EA seems to be moving away from everybody must use Frostbite all the time, especially because Respawn doesn't use Unreal or doesn't use Frostbite. They use altered versions of Source for their shooters, right, which is the Valve engine. And then for Jedi Fallen Order they used Unreal 4. So yeah, I feel like they understand that they need to make this right. You know, I feel like Mass Effect is almost in a Halo type situation where like this IP is too important to mess up, and if it's not at least great, if it's not scoring 9s, then you might as well just put Mass Effect away for a while, because you have to get this right.
There's too many eyes on it, and they've messed up too many times. And they haven't even, well, I guess unless you want to include the trilogy or whatever, well, technically, is it just the trilogy that they released in that collection, or is Andromeda in that as well?
It's just the original trilogy.
Like, unless you want to include that, they haven't really had a win in a while, or made
it was
good
their
on
first
anything.
win in a while, because like Dragon Age Inquisition was really mixed. I think a lot of people enjoyed it, but it wasn't like amazing. And then they had Andromeda, which was not received well. I didn't mind it. I didn't finish it, but I didn't mind what I played of it. I also played it 6 months after it came out, so all the patches were implemented and stuff. So I don't really know what it was like at launch. Anthem was not received well, obviously. RIP Javelins for Hire. Remember when we tried that show?
Yeah. Man. I mean, and who knows? Had Anthem like been a great game and like still been going and stuff, we would have had more harder decisions to make. So maybe it was meant to be. Yeah, it was meant to be for our sake too, of time.
Yeah. That show before Anthem came out, that show actually did pretty decent numbers, because we started 2 or 3 weeks before Anthem came out.
We were like looking into everything that there was for lore, and then I'd gotten all those comic books, and
I know Jesse was extra invested in Anthem. To be fair, Anthem was a cool idea, and it was really fun to play with friends, but like it really had this like, we had a good idea but we didn't execute on it, and now it's just, here it is. So
now it's they gave up on it.
So I I did rewatch the teaser for the next Mass Effect, and it does have me excited. It does have me excited to play more Mass Effect, to the point where I bought the Legendary Edition, but I never finished it, or I never started it, I should say. I intended to, and then I just got so sidetracked with 1,000 other things that I never started it. But I did download that and Mass Effect Andromeda to play at some point. Maybe some point.
And I'm so out of the loop and don't like. I mean, I sure I know little bits and pieces about the lore and stuff, but I'm so out of the loop that I've basically just said I've just like come to terms with the fact that I probably just will never experience it.
Yeah.
You know, like
but those games are really short. Like, you could play all three of the games in the length it takes you to play a regular RPG these days. Like, I think the first one is only about 15 to 20 hours. If you if you want to do everything, it's probably closer to 25. But the second one's not very long at all either. I think each game's only about 20 hours. Which is kind of short for an RPG. Especially the second and third game are basically third person shooters with skill trees is all they are, really.
Okay.
I think you would really
maybe.
I think you would really like Mass Effect 2 and 3, Jesse.
Yeah. Well, this was the other thought is eventually that collection, I'm guessing, will be on.
It'll be on Game Pass by like next spring or something, I'm sure.
I'm like, I wonder if they'll just replace the originals that are on Game Pass right now and just have that eventually.
Yeah,
instead of the originals. I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm always looking forward to more Mass Effect, and we're gonna get it. So
and that's the thing too. Like, even though it may not be something that I'm as interested in as you or definitely Stoy, who is obsessed with it. Like, I want it to be good though, for the sake of everyone who is interested in it. And and be that maybe thing that pushes me over, that says, okay, you have to experience this stuff, so
yeah
I mean, hope it's good.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna I don't think there's anything interesting coming to Game Pass. Let me look it up real quick. I was gonna skip the section, but then I didn't really. All right, so I have the list pulled up here. Here's all the games coming soon to Game Pass. Craftopia, Final Fantasy 13 is a big one. I'm a defender of that game. I really like that game a lot.
Yeah, and those are actually, both of those are already on it. So.
Yeah, 10, 2, and 12 are on there now.
13 is on there already too.
Yeah, these are all listed for September 2nd. So most of these will be on there by the time this episode comes out. Signs of Sojourner, Surgeon Simulator 2, Crown Trick, Breathe Edge. Gosh, this just sounds like sometimes people just merge words together. Nuclear Throne, which I know a lot of people really like. The Artful Escape, I Am Fish, Skatebird. So Skatebird is the one game that everybody seems really high on. Origami 2, which I know a lot of people kind of like that first game. Sable is that Zelda-like that a lot of people have really, really want to hope. I hope that's good, because I know a lot of people really have a thing for that game.
Yeah, with the sepia tone, kind of like a really cool, interesting, like I had played the beta, and it was a beta, so it's gonna have issues, and there's definitely was a lot of potential there. It was very interesting game for sure.
Lemnis Gate is coming, and then Astria Ascending, which was it's like a side-scrolling RPG. So that's what's coming to Game Pass this month. We'll probably start maybe next week. We'll just go week to week and kind of say what's coming within the week. Leaving Game Pass soon. Red Dead Online is leaving. Company of Heroes 2 is leaving. Disgaea 4. Those are both PC games. Forza Motorsport 7 is leaving. So, and also leaving the store at the end of the month. And it's I think it's the Ultimate Edition is on sale for like $20. So if you want some Forza Motorsport 7, better get it now. Although I think they're just gearing up for the Forza Motorsport kind of service game coming. So remember, a lot of these licenses for these cars and stuff expire after a certain amount of time. So they usually do leave the store. I remember Forza Horizon 3 actually just recently left the store, right? So
yeah.
Hot Shot Racing is leaving. Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics is leaving. And Thronebreaker, The Witcher Tales, the card game, is also leaving Game Pass soon. So if you want to play them, better go play them soon. Jesse, let's get into our topic of the week. So this week, Sony, when they announced the different editions of Horizon Forbidden West, which is their big February game, they announced that 2 or 3 of the editions would not be granting dual entitlement, which means if you bought it on PlayStation 4, you could not get the free upgrade to PlayStation 5. And then if you bought the PlayStation 5 version, you did not get the backwards version, so you wouldn't get the PS4 version. And this is the biggest game that I've seen people get upset about, because Sony's kind of flip-flopped on this a lot recently. Well, not recently, I guess within the last year. Because like you could get, if you bought the ultimate version of Miles Morales, you got the PS5 versions of, Spider-Man Remastered and then Miles Morales. With Ghost of Tsushima, you could pay $10 for an upgrade. Stuff like that, right? Where, okay, well, you have to pay for the upgrade, whatever. Horizon was the first game where they weren't even allowing an upgrade path for that. You had to straight up buy the game again.
Well, they said that that you were gonna get a free copy of it, a long time ago. But then they all of a sudden they changed their mind.
Yeah, and they kind of walked that back this week in a blog post. But I just want to talk about like how Xbox, everybody kind of made fun of the term smart delivery and kind of some of the things that Xbox was doing at the beginning, but it really seems like everything Xbox is doing just is working. And a lot of people are getting frustrated at Sony that they're not doing a similar thing or the same thing, and I want to know what your thoughts are on that. Because like Xbox has been doing a lot of stuff with, between smart delivery and Game Pass and or you buy this game, you just own it, you can play it on PC, you can play it on Xbox, whatever, right? And Sony has kind of been the complete opposite, and Nintendo has been the complete opposite. Nintendo kind of being the standout outlier of like, oh, well, you bought this game on Wii U, well, you get to buy it again on Switch for $10. Like, I remember when Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out, and it was $50 on Wii U. And then when they announced it for Switch, it was $60.
Yeah.
But at that point, it had dropped to like the Nintendo Selects line, and it was $20 on the Wii U. And people were pointing that out to the point where Nintendo just removed it from the Wii U eShop for a while.
Yeah, well, you got a different outfit that you could wear in the new one.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, like I've been outspoken in, about Nintendo things, like choices they've made, and things even within the last year that Sony has made, and I've been upset with some of the things that Xbox has done in the past. I didn't always voice them, because frankly that's all I would hear in my ear all the time, no matter where you go, is everyone just pointing out every single reason why they think Xbox is the worst. So I really didn't have to say anything, because everyone else was, and that's fine, because ultimately that's why we're in a better place now, is because people were outspoken about it. But as far as like the question stuff goes, like my answer for that is, honestly, I think that a lot of the success of the things that we're seeing in these, smart delivery and stuff like that, I honestly think a lot of that is coming from the fact that Microsoft has this team, dealing with backwards compatibility, and and they're focusing on that system. And like, I mean, like like honestly, that part of Microsoft alone is a masterpiece of just the fact that it works so well that you can just play a regular Xbox game, or you can just play a regular 360 game, and they'll look better than they did on the original consoles. And they didn't really have to do any work to make that happen. Like, I think a lot of that is just because that they've focused on doing stuff in this system where things just are kind of built to be able to just work, and like have a system where it can recognize things, and it can, like, it just makes it very easy for things to be able to know, like, when you put a game in the Xbox, if you have a Series X, well, then it's going to download the Series X version of that game or whatever. Like, I think a lot of that can go back to that, like, just the way that they've kind of been working on trying to make the backwards compatibility stuff work. And I mean, look at, like, how long did it take for people to be able to change their screen name on PlayStation? Like, they just haven't, there's been no like, like, vision for the long term in some of those kinds of things like that. And I think the lack of the backwards compatibility through PlayStation, and it being really only from the last generation, like, they're, and even then, it's tedious to do. I think it's just their system. Like, ultimately they needed to have a different focus on the way they built their like, how things work and how it reads things. And and I think it's just Microsoft did a better job of that part, and it just shows in how easy a lot of games just kind of work for the new consoles. And like, the smart delivery stuff just works because it's just very well done. And I do think that a lot of that is contribution to them really working on making a system that can just figure all these things out, and it's just works. Like,
it's very user friendly, right? Like, it's just very, like, a lot of people were like kind of complaining that, oh, the user interface on the Xbox Series X is the same as the Xbox One. But to me, I like that because I was already familiar with everything. I was already familiar with how to work the store, how to, find things, how to find my games and apps, all that kind of stuff. Didn't really have any major hiccups at all. And like, I still hear people complaining about the PlayStation 5 user interface, how hard the store is to navigate, how hard it is to even look at trophies, and and like, oh, well, I just go to my achievements tabs on Xbox, and it's it just works, and I'm not saying that Xbox's user interface isn't going to change. Probably with Windows 11, right? They're going to probably try to, synergize the user experience across the platforms, but it just works, even when you're playing on cloud. Like, I've been playing a lot of stuff on cloud recently, and like, it's generally the same experience that you're going to have on an Xbox. It just works. I go to xbox.com/play, plug in my controller on my laptop or hook it up to my phone, and I just hopped into Destiny and did some strikes and did my Gunsmith bounties earlier today on the cloud while we were watching something with my kid. And it's like, well, it just works. All this stuff, how crazy it is that it just works. And I think Sony's going the wrong way about it, especially because like they're still technically the market leader, and even first party games, like third party games, Xbox still has their issues with third party games. Some companies are working with them, like Ubisoft is working with them to do the cross generational stuff, and EA has kind of walked back their stuff, and it just depends. Activision has not done anything, but overall first party stuff has just been a breeze to play, right? Like moving from Xbox One to Series X has just been really easy. But like Sony as the market leader, I think should be doing the same thing with their first party stuff. Like I think if, for the most part, some of their PlayStation 4 games, like older ones, they've been generous enough to like patch on PlayStation 5 where they run better. Like Horizon Zero Dawn now runs at 60 frames on PlayStation instead of 30. God of War runs better. Ghost of Tsushima got a PlayStation 5 patch, even though they're selling a PlayStation 5 native version now. So like they've done some work to make their PlayStation 4 games run a little bit better, but like overall, I think they should be looking at Microsoft and maybe adjusting their plan to try to do the same thing. I know that cross-generation stuff isn't gonna really matter much longer, but when you're launching a console, it should be an easy decision to be like, okay, well, my old games are going to work. They're probably going to work better. They might look a little bit nicer. I should be able to play my old games on this console, and I should be able to get the best. I mean, Microsoft's whole thing is I'm going to get the best version of this game depending on the platform I'm playing on, whether you're playing, what was the big game at launch for Xbox, I guess, Gears Tactics. Whether I'm playing on the xCloud beta or an Xbox One or PC or a Series X or a Series S, I'm going to get the optimized version of this game depending on the platform I'm playing on. And for Sony, that has been a problem. It's been a headache for a lot of people. Even the PlayStation 5 native versions of games, whether they're cross-gen or not, have been headaches, right? Like I've heard stories of people wanting to play what was that game that came out? Housemarque's game, Returnal.
Oh yeah,
just straight up crashing consoles, or like not even loading. And I think that's a problem. I think that these consoles, personally, I think these consoles came out a year too early. I think they should have waited. Although I think Xbox has had more success of getting these consoles in people's hands and optimized and running well. Yeah. I still think PlayStation is still having problems, and that sucks for people who want PlayStations.
Yeah. I think part of the thing is like to go back to something you had brought up is a lot of people were like, oh, they're not even going to change the UI look of the new Xbox. Like, they basically said that this was just going to be the new model of that of that thing. It's not like they were smart. They spent that time that they would have wasted on trying to come up with some pointless new or UI that they create just so you can say it looks different, and be annoyed with it until they can optimize it. And because every single year, doesn't matter what console it is, that when they change the UI, it always sucks. It never has all the things that you want it to do, and it takes about 5 years for it finally to get to the point of where you like it. So like,
and by the time it gets to the point where you like it, it's like, oh, the new console's coming out. So like,
yeah,
why
waste that time?
I like PlayStation. I do plan on getting a PlayStation 5 when they design the console to be smaller. No, I'm just kidding. It's really hard for me to recommend a PlayStation over Xbox right now. Unless you're like, in the games that I would recommend for PlayStation, if you have a PlayStation 4, you might as well just play them there. Mm-hmm. I don't really feel like anybody is missing anything by not having a PlayStation 5 right now, unless you just want one, right? Like, mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, like, it's kind of hard to recommend an Xbox Series X right now, except for like Halo's coming out, Yeah. But like, it is hard for me to recommend an Xbox Series console. It's easier for me to recommend Xbox as an ecosystem, right? Yeah. Because of Game Pass and smart delivery, or hey, if you buy this game if you have an Xbox One and you buy this game now, or if you have a PC and you buy this game now and you want an Xbox Series box later, you buy it now, you'll just be able to get the best version of it later,
Yeah.
And
or just don't buy it now, wait and buy it later. Right now, just play the Series X version of it through xCloud on your Xbox One.
Yeah, like, I mean, even that's coming out too. Yeah, and I think Xbox has done a lot of positive things. I mean, we've been talking about it for years at this point, where mm-hmm. it takes a long time to turn the ship around, but they've finally done it within the last, I would say, 2 years. They've really started nailing it, with probably starting with the release of Gears 5, which was an awesome game. And then last year we talked about all the awesome games, Ori, Battletoads, maybe not like super AAA games, but a lot of mm-hmm. releases last year.
Yeah, a lot of reasons to have Game Pass, like in general, like to be in their ecosystem and have Game Pass. Like mm-hmm. it's been the best, thing you can get with your money, hands down, mm-hmm. for years now. Yeah.
And to this point, it's like, well, Game Pass is the platform. It's the box that you play it on, it's mm-hmm. like, if you play it on this box, you're going to have a better experience. If you play it on PC, you're going to have this kind of experience. If you play it on cloud, mm-hmm. you're going to have this experience. It's like Game Pass is really hard to not recommend, right? Like Game Pass is an amazing deal. It's like, even if it was $20 a month, right? Like, it's still a great deal. It's still 1/3 of a game, Then you like, I counted the games on the Xbox version of Game Pass, like maybe 2 weeks ago. There's almost 500 games on Game Pass Ultimate. 500 games for $15 a month. That's ridiculous. And they're not small games either. They're big games. You have EA's back catalog, you have Destiny, you have all of Bethesda's games, you have all of Microsoft's first party games, you have a ton of great indie stuff, you have games like The Witcher, like there's Yakuza, all the Yakuza games are on there. Kingdom Hearts 3 is on there if you want it. Dragon Quest is on there. A bunch of Final Fantasy games on there. Like, they're not small games either. They're huge AAA, big budget games that you should probably check out.
Mm-hmm. And, and people like to say, well, those are old games or blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is every day some kid or someone is getting a little bit older and they want to experience something that was out possibly before they were born or before they were old enough to play, mm-hmm. Even remotely close to playing something like those games. I mean, there's still a lot of that stuff that's older that I go back and I play that I just never got around to. I mean,
Yeah,
like that's the thing, is it does not matter when those games came out. Just the fact that they're good games, they're on it, and I can, while no games are coming out for a lot of, a lot of the other systems or whatever, like there's stuff there to pad the time in between releases that you can do.
well,
There is
even
never nothing to play.
I mean, you even look at the day one stuff on Game Pass this year alone, right? It's the three huge games this year: Outriders, MLB The Show, and Back for Blood are all day one Game Pass games.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and there's been a lot of amazing like indie games and third party games and stuff in between there as well that have come to the console. A lot of it through other things as well, like, I mean, that are now first party games because they, Microsoft bought those companies. But I mean, there's just so much though, especially like the indie games. There's a lot of great indie games that I've played.
Yeah.
That on there.
Yeah, like what's the game we just talked about? Sable is a day one.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be a huge game for them,
Yeah.
So
yeah, and yeah, there's still a lot of those really good third party games that are
Hades
coming out this year or very early next year.
Yeah.
So.
Hades is another great day one Game Pass game. I'm just kind of looking through this list right now.
Yeah.
Mech Warrior 5 was a huge Game Pass game.
Yeah. Well, and like kind of like, so what we were talking about a little bit, to bring kind of back somewhat to what we were talking about, there's just a lot of things that Microsoft made the choice to not waste the time on doing for this new console, and they felt like putting that energy and that, and even like on like a hardware level, yes, Sony has the better, faster reading hard drive, but the Series X isn't that slow.
Well, either. the thing is too, is like a lot of what I've heard a little bit on podcasts. Now, I don't know if it's like some sort of biased podcast or not, like, but a lot of people are saying that since Sony's hard drive is so custom made for them, like it's kind of like 2 or 3 generations ahead of where standard SSDs are right now. And like, even like 1 or 2 steps ahead of Microsoft's SSD, that like potentially not like hand over fist or anything, but potentially it could be a similar situation to what the PlayStation 3 had with the cell processor. And like, since the hard drives are built different, like third party games specifically might be more optimized for the Xbox hard drive because it's easier to develop for. Because it doesn't have the different speeds that it, like, because the PlayStation 1 is like, I'm not a tech guy, but I know that like it can read things faster depending on what game it is, or like how they optimize the game for the hard drive.
Like how the files are allocated, I'm guessing.
So I'm not sure what they're going to be doing, but like, they said they could potentially have that problem based on how the hard drive even works. So, which I don't know. I mean, that's just
I mean, it's that's very possible. And like, like I said, I am not like disputing that their hard drive, isn't much better or whatever, but like, like that was the path that they took, and Microsoft's path that they took, it may not be the best when comparing the hard drives, but going the whole AI route, that's something that the PS5 just doesn't have. Like, they don't have that whole AI learning stuff built into theirs. And so like that's really helped with making these games run and look better without having to do any work, like, So they both kind of chose their own ways to go about building their hardware, which is always fun in my opinion. Like I like that when we get differences in, like true differences in the consoles that actually, you know, can be seen, you know, in play, or in when it's doing what it does, that it shows off, you know, why it's different. But it, you know, the path that Microsoft took has just paid off very early, you know, like it's paid off for them instantly. Whereas with the route that PlayStation has taken has gotten people excited and stuff like that, but you know, it's just recently that you can finally start putting your own hard drives in them for more storage. It's,
yeah, and those hard
you know,
drives, and they like those hard drives are like really expensive too.
yeah. So it's, you know, like I think it just comes down to like Microsoft really just made the right choices in focusing on what they wanted to do. And obviously their you know, their smart delivery is just like they made good choices when trying to, you know, figure out how they want that to work. And it just, I just don't think, you know, like from Sony kind of coming out and saying, yeah, we want to, you know, we want to be about generations, and making people think that they just were going to completely just cut themselves off from the PS4. It almost makes you wonder, well, how much did they really want to go that route?
Right.
And you know, is that what ended up biting them in the butt when it came to this cross generation stuff?
Right.
You know, is that why it's so much more difficult to work for them? Because they really were planning on just completely, you know, leaving the PS4 behind. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like that's the thing, is we'll never know unless someone comes out and says, but I mean, it just feels like, yeah, like there was choices made, and you know, some of the choices that Sony made were good for them and will probably pay off in the long run. But I feel like Xbox had to make decisions that needed to pay off as soon as possible, because they needed to,
Yeah.
you know, they needed to make changes, and they needed to happen quickly. You know?
It's kind of weird because like each like side said, you know, Xbox said they were going to support Xbox One up, you know, after Xbox Series X launched, and then PlayStation said they were pretty much cutting off the PlayStation 4. But it's actually almost been the complete opposite, where like Halo is, you know, Flight Simulator didn't come out on Xbox One, and Halo Infinite was supposed to come out last year, but is the last Xbox One game for all intents and purposes, right? And like,
Yeah.
you know, I know they're going to support through xCloud and all that stuff, but like they kind of both switched around what they were saying, you know, and it's just kind of fascinating how Xbox kind of did it right and Sony kind of seems to have stumbled, you know. So
yeah, and I think that's probably, you know, like too, like they obviously they didn't want to say too much because they wanted to keep a lot of that kind of secret, but they ultimately, like literally moving forward, anything that they ever release will technically be able to be played through xCloud on your you literally will never have to buy another Xbox if you wanted to again.
Yeah, like a casual player could go buy like an Xbox One S or whatever somewhere and just download the xCloud app and just like say, okay, I guess I'll play, you know, Flight Simulator on this now.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool. You know, like I mean, I think that's really cool, and I think that's really smart to grab people and say, hey, you can still play all these games. You know, it requires the internet, and you have to, you know, sign up for this service or whatever, but it's still like you can still come in and play our games, and we want you here, and this is how it's going to work. It's cool. So,
and you know, like now you don't have to worry as much about that space, you know, that you have to save games on.
Right.
While those memory card things are still expensive, you know, like
Yeah, they've already come down though. I've seen them for like
Yeah.
$180 now. When they launched at what, 230, I think is what they launched at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I see them now in the stores, like Walmart and stuff still sells them for about $219.
yeah.
So, but
I'm really glad I got that though, because like my Series S, dude, like I had Outriders, Destiny 2, and Master Chief Collection, and I couldn't get anything else on there. I was like, oh man, good thing this thing just. Oh,
yeah, but it's, and let's be honest, like those little memory card, the little like memory card like things, they're so cool looking.
I know.
It's just so neat.
I almost want another one just to like, because they're cool looking, not because I'm gonna use it or anything. Because like my Series X, I feel like, okay, this has enough space on it. I can manage 1 terabyte of games, especially because they're like starting to get smaller now, But the Series S, man, I'm so glad I got it, because I'm like, well, I'll just put all the multiplayer games I play on here, and if I'm streaming or recording something, I'll pop it into the Series S, and if I want to play on my TV, I'll just pop it into the Series X, and like, I don't know. I have a system where like the games I plan on streaming or playing with friends and stuff and recording stuff, I have on the memory stick, and then games I just play to relax and stuff I have on my Series X hard drive. Just like, okay, well, Destiny is going to be on any hard drive I have. Halo is going to be on any hard drive I have. This single player game I want to check out, I'll just download it here and play it here and chill, So
yeah, that's kind of what I've just like, it's made me, like think about the games that I want to download or buy even, okay, well, are you going to actually play this game? Like, should I even bother, download? And so like, I really will only download the games that I know I'm absolutely going to play now, which has gotten me to, to try to finish games too more. So
yeah. It's definitely had me thinking about playing games longer because of how much space it takes up to download it, or how much time. And it's like, well, if I have it here, I might as well play it,
Yeah.
So, all right, Jesse, I think that was a good, transition episode. I think it was good. I think it was fun. I enjoyed it. But we're going to get out of here because it's been 2 hours and 12 minutes.
So perfect time.
I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. You can catch Arsenal X every Tuesday morning on your podcast service of choice. If you listen on iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a nice review to help with discoverability. It's really nice of you to do that. You can follow us at Boss Rush Network and find us on bossrush.net as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch us there as well. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS, including PlayStation.
You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter. You can find me hosting Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast as well. I think that's it. Did I miss anything? We'll be returning to live shows on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network next week. On Sunday nights. So if you want to watch us live and be part of the show in the chat, you can check us out there as well. Stoy's not here, but you can follow EXPcast as well, his podcast. I'm sure they would appreciate another listen or two. So check it out. And thank you so much for watching. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.